I stood at the gate, the weight of the uniform heavy on my shoulders, not from the fabric, but from everything it was supposed to mean. The casket waited out of sight, draped in the flag. I kept my posture straight, eyes forward, boarding. Group 3, now welcome to board. The announcement crackled. I stepped forward. The gate agent didn't look up at first, too busy tapping at her screen. When she finally did, her eyes flicked from my face to my uniform and then hardened. "Sir, I'm going to need you to wait until your group is called." I kept my voice steady. "I'm escorting a fallen soldier. I'm authorized to pre-board with the casket." Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "That's not what it says here." "I'm sorry, but you'll have to wait." I swallowed down, the heat rising in my chest. "Ma'am, this is protocol. I do this because he can't walk himself on board." Her fingers froze over the keyboard. She leaned toward the agent next to her, voice low, but not low enough. "I don't want to cause trouble." "But this doesn't feel right." The other agent glanced at me, then away just as fast. "Just follow procedure. Don't make a scene." Couple near the gate whispered, not bothering to hide it. "Isn't he supposed to board first?" "Yeah, I thought that's how it worked. He's in uniform." I felt my hands curl into fists behind my back. "They see the uniform." "They don't see me, ma'am." I tried again, forcing calm into every word. "The soldier's remains are being loaded. I need to be there. That's my duty." She crossed her arms. "You'll have to wait until I verify." I stared at her, willing her to see past whatever wall she'd built. I'm not invisible. I'm not a threat. Passengers were starting to watch. A man in a suit looked over his glasses at me, then at the agent. A mother pulled her child closer. A teenager raised his phone recording. Maybe I took a breath. "You can verify, but let me board, please." Her jaw tightened. "If you don't, calm down, I'll have to call security." Calm down? I felt my pulse hammering in my ears. My voice hadn't risen. My stance hadn't shifted, but I nodded. I had to. Behind me, someone spoke up, a woman's voice, soft but firm. "He's bringing home a fallen soldier. Let him board." The agent's eyes darted toward the voice, then back to me. Her tone changed, but only a little. "Fine, but don't act like I'm the bad guy here. Just following rules." I stepped forward, the invisible weight pressing harder. My boots felt heavy on the jet bridge floor. I could feel the stairs at my back. They didn't stop me because of the uniform. They stopped me because they couldn't see past my skin dot as I reached the plane door. I turned once, just enough to see the gate agent still watching me. Arms folded, lips tight. "You didn't win anything." I didn't move. My boots felt glued to the floor. The gate agent's stare burned right through me, daring me to speak again, daring me to challenge her rules. Then I heard him before I saw him. "Let the man through. He's doing an honorable duty." The voice was steady, the kind of voice that gets heard. I turned my head. An older man, white hair cropped military short, chest out like he still wore his uniform. His eyes met mine for a second, just long enough for me to see he meant it. The agent's lips pressed into a thin line. "Sir, this is none of your concern." He didn't back down. "When a soldier brings one of our own home, it is everyone's concern." My throat tightened. I wanted to speak, but I couldn't. My words had already bounced off their walls. Now his words, his voice, that was what they heard. The agent shifted, glancing around like she felt the weight of the stairs building behind us. Passengers watching, judging, whispering. Tommy hadn't said his name, but somehow I felt I knew it. Took a slow step closer. "This isn't about rules. This is about respect. Let him do what he came here to do." Her smile returned, brittle, fake as polished plastic. "Fine, but let's not make a scene, okay?" I almost laughed. "A scene? You made the scene the moment you made me prove I belonged here." But I just nodded. My voice felt too heavy to lift. "Thank you," I murmured to Tom, low enough that only he could hear. He nodded back. "I'm just doing what's right." I stepped toward the jet bridge, heart pounding, not from pride, not from relief, but from everything I couldn't say. They heard him. They didn't hear me. My hands unclenched as I walked. I hadn't even realized how tightly I'd been holding them behind my back. My palms were damp. Behind me, the agent called out, almost too soft for anyone but me to catch. Some people always want special treatment. I didn't turn. I kept walking. If I'd turned, I wasn't sure I could have kept my mouth shut. Tom's voice cut through one last time. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. No reply from her. Just silence thick enough to choke on as I reached the plane door, the weight. And my chest stayed with me. The casket waited inside, draped in the flag that was supposed to mean we're one. But today, I was reminded some voices matter more than others. I stepped onto the plane, boots heavy on the floor, head held high. Because that's what they taught me, carry the weight, no matter what it is. The first-class cabin was quiet, too quiet. All eyes flicked my way, then looked past me like I wasn't real. Sir? The flight attendant blocked my path with a practiced smile that didn't reach her eyes. You seem to be in someone's seat. I kept my voice even. Juana, I'm escorting the remains of a fallen soldier. I handed her the boarding pass, my fingers steady even though my chest felt tight. She took it, glanced down, then up at me, then down again. Her smile stayed. Frozen. Oh, the laugh came forced, brittle. Oh, I see. Behind me, low enough to almost miss, came the words that made my skin burn. These people always push their way up front. I stopped breathing for a second. My heart pounded so loud I couldn't hear anything else. I turned slightly, just enough to see him, middle-aged, pale face, avoiding my eyes like a coward. He said it like I wasn't there, like I couldn't hear, like I didn't matter. I didn't answer him. I didn't trust myself to. The attendant's voice softened, but it wasn't. For me. All set, sir. Go ahead. I moved down the aisle, each step heavier than the last. Invisible until I'm a problem. Sliding into 1A, I kept my eyes forward. The flight attendant hovered like she wanted to say something, maybe explain, maybe excuse, but in the end, she just turned away. The man who'd spoken sat 2 rows back. I felt his eyes on the back of my neck. I imagined his smirk. I looked toward the cockpit. The curtain was slightly open, just enough for me to see the edge of the flag, red and white stripes. The stars hidden from view. He doesn't have to hear. He's beyond it. I'm the one left to carry it. The plane filled with quiet sounds, seatbelts clicking, papers rustling, but no one spoke to me. No one met my eyes. I stared at that flag through the crack in the curtain and let the silence press in. I kept my eyes on the flag because that was easier than meeting theirs. But their voices found me anyway. Did he really have to sit up here? Low, like I wouldn't hear, probably some political thing. Gotta make a statement. Another voice, male, dismissive. My throat felt dry, but I waited. Maybe they'd stop. They didn't. Should have let him stay back there. First class is for paying passengers. I breathed in slow. Let it go, let it go. I pressed the call button. A moment, then she appeared, same flight attendant, same tight smile that wasn't for me. Water? Please. My voice was steady. I made sure of it. Her eyes flicked down, then to the back of the cabin where someone waved at her. Later. We're busy right now. She didn't wait for me to answer. She turned fast, like staying another second near me was too much to bear. My jaw clenched. I stared at my hands, same hands that signed up to serve. Same hands that carried brothers off fields where no one asked who paid for the seat. The curtain rustled. A man stepped through, co-pilot, silver bars on his shoulders. His eyes found mine. Thanks for your service. His voice was quiet. Respectful on the surface, I kept my voice low. That the official line, or do you mean it? He paused. I watched him think about it. We don't all feel the same, sir. I didn't blink. No, you don't. Silence, not uncomfortable. For me, I'd learned how to live in it, but I could feel him wanting to fill it. Finally, he nodded just once. If you need anything, let me know. I let the words hang there. Water would be a start. He glanced toward the galley, then back at me. I'll see what I can do. As he left, I let my head fall back against the seat for just a second. Words cost nothing. Dignity costs more. I kept my eyes closed just long enough to block out their stares, their whispers, their truths. I felt her presence before I heard her. The flight attendant hovered, close enough that I could smell her perfume sharp. like she wanted to cover something. Sir, her voice was louder than it needed. To be tight at the edges? Are you sure you're supposed to be up here? I didn't look up right away. I let the words land, let them sit where they didn't belong. I kept my voice low. You checked my pass. Twice. Her lips twitched like she might argue, like she wanted to say more, to put me back in whatever place she thought I came from, behind. Me, a man's chuckle cut through the cabin. Not loud, but enough. Maybe he stole it. The heat in my chest burned up my throat. I turned slightly. His face was turned toward the window, like the words had come from someone else. I spoke slowly, careful with every word. Say it to me, not to the glass. His eyes flicked to mine for half a second, then dropped. The attendant shifted from one foot to the other. I just wanted to make sure everything was in order. The PA system crackled and the captain's voice filled the cabin. Calm, steady, ladies and gentlemen. Let's remember we're carrying a hero home today. Let's conduct ourselves with the respect that duty deserves. Silence, heavy, choking silence. The attendant swallowed hard. I watched her throat move. Apologies, she mumbled. I shook my head. My voice came out rough, the words scraping my throat. Not to me. To him. I pointed toward the cockpit, toward what lay beyond that curtain, the flag, the casket. The man who couldn't speak for himself. She didn't answer. No one did. The cabin went so quiet I could hear my own heart beating. This was their shame. Not mine. I leaned back, closing my eyes. But the weight of their stares pressed against my skin. The plane jolted hard, throwing my stomach against my spine. I gripped the armrest, knuckles white, jaw tight. The seatbelt light blinked overhead. The cabin hummed with nervous, energy-soft gasps, whispered prayers. The rustle of seatbelts clicked into place. Another sharp drop. My heart raced, not from fear of falling, but from everything I'd already fallen through on this flight. The curtain shifted. The captain stepped out, steady despite the shaking floor. He crouched beside my seat, voice low, meant only for me. I'm sorry. His eyes met mine, steady. About the way you've been treated. Not everyone on this crew represents us. I let the words settle. I felt them try to smooth over raw skin. Respect is quiet, I said, voice flat, rough at the edges. Disrespect echoes. He nodded once, low. I hear you. The turbulence eased, but inside, nothing settled. The flight attendant passed. Head down, eyes glued to anything but me. Her silence spoke louder than any apology could have. The captain stood, gave me one last nod, and disappeared behind the curtain. I sat back, hands loose now, but the weight stayed. They'll forget this. By landing, I'll carry it forever. The plane touched down harder than it should have. My heart didn't slow. The tension clung tighter as we taxied, as if the wheels couldn't scrub away what had been set up there. I stood when the door opened, the first to step out, the casket, waiting to follow. The air hit my face thick, humid, full of cameras and questions, flashes, microphones, a wall of noise. Major! Major! Over here! A man in uniform pushed through the crowd. Military liaison. His eyes were kind but searching. Major, everything okay on board? I opened my mouth, ready to speak. Before I could, he cut in, the airline manager. Suit crisp, smile polished, eyes empty. Our crew treated him with the utmost respect. He said, loud enough for the cameras, loud enough for his own sake. I turned, faced him full on. Let him see the weight I carried. Respect wasn't what I heard at 30,000 feet. His smile twitched. We take these matters seriously, a reporter's voice sliced through. What happened, Major? I didn't look at them. I kept my eyes on the man who tried to rewrite what they all heard. What they all saw? Asked them. I said, my voice calm, level, steady as I could make it. Why they tried to stop a soldier from bringing another home. The hush came fast, heavy, like the moment before a storm breaks. No one spoke, not the manager, not the crew standing behind him, not the passengers watching from the gate. The cameras kept flashing, but the noise was gone. I took a step forward. The flag caught my eye, bright against the dull gray of the tarmac. He deserved better. We both did. I kept walking, past the silence, past their shame, toward the man who couldn't speak, but who said everything that needed saying. The weight of the moment hadn't lifted. Not when I stepped through the terminal. Not when the flag draped. Casket moved past me, carried by hands that didn't need reminders about respect. That's when they came. Major? A voice too polished, too smooth. A man in a suit I didn't care to remember. Airline PR, I guessed. He wore that kind of smile, the kind built for damage control. We want to offer our deepest apology. I didn't say anything. I waited, let him fill the space. He motioned, and she stepped forward. The flight attendant. Her face pale now. Eyes everywhere but mine. I didn't mean any disrespect. The words fell out, flat, rehearsed. I kept my voice steady, though it scraped at my throat. You did. You just didn't think I'd speak. She swallowed, and for the first time, met my eyes. Then dropped them just as fast. The PR man cleared his throat, eager to smooth it over. Let us make this right. The airline is committed. 2, I raised a hand, just enough to stop him. Start by listening, not spinning. He opened his mouth, then shut it. I heard the shift in the crowd, the hush, the parting of bodies as the casket passed, carried by men who knew what honor looked like. I watched it go, every step away a reminder of who I did this for. They'll forget. But maybe someone heard me today, though the weight of the moment hadn't lifted. Not when I stepped through the terminal. Not when the flag-draped casket moved past me, carried by hands that didn't need reminders about respect. That's when they came. Major? A voice too polished, too smooth. A man in a suit I didn't care to remember. Airline PR, I guessed. He wore that kind of smile, the kind built for damage control. We want to offer our deepest apology. I didn't say anything. I waited, let him fill the space. He motioned, and she stepped forward. The flight attendant. Her face pale now. Eyes everywhere but mine. I didn't mean any disrespect. The words fell out, flat, rehearsed. I kept my voice steady, though it scraped at my throat. You did. You just didn't think I'd speak. She swallowed, and for the first time, met my eyes. Then dropped them just as fast. The PR man cleared his throat, eager to smooth it over. Let us make this right. The airline is committed. 2, I raised a hand, just enough to stop him. Start by listening. Not spinning. He opened his mouth, then shut it. I heard the shift in the crowd, the hush, the parting of bodies as the casket passed, carried by men who knew what honor looked like. I watched it go. Every step away a reminder of who I did this for. They'll forget, but maybe someone heard me today. The hum of the engine filled the space between us. No cameras now. No stairs. Just the road, the flag behind us, and the weight I couldn't shake. The driver kept his eyes forward, hands firm on the wheel. His voice broke the quiet, low enough that it felt like truth, not small talk. They don't know what it costs you, do they? I didn't answer right away. I watched the trees blur past, watched the world keep moving like none of this mattered. No. My voice felt heavy. And they don't care. The silence after was different, not empty, just full of what didn't need saying, a long breath. His, not mine, but I do. I turned just enough to see the side of his face. He meant it. I stared out the window again. The road stretched ahead, endless. He deserved better, I said, the words barely more than a whisper. We both did. The driver didn't speak again. He didn't need to. The wind caught at the flag as I held it out. My hands trembled, not from its weight, but from everything I'd carried here. The mother's eyes met mine. Wet, red, but steady, you brought him home with honor. Her voice cracked, but the strength in it shamed me. I swallowed hard. The words scraped as they left me. I tried. The father didn't speak. He just nodded, jaw tight, eyes fixed on the casket like he could will it open and bring his son back. I heard the whisper behind me, low but sharp enough to cut through the ache. He did what they wouldn't. I didn't turn. I didn't need to see who said it. I felt the truth in it. The bugle called out, notes breaking the air like glass. I lifted my hand, fingers stiff in salute. Rest easy, I said, my voice just loud enough for the flag to. Here, I'll carry the weight you left behind. And as the gunshots echoed, I let my hand fall. The world would move on. But I wouldn't.